Before we start this video, do like and subscribe to our channel and not miss on any updates.
Hello friends, welcome to very interesting topic, demo of a very interesting topic called emotional biases. This is a wonderful topic from portfolio management chapter. Emotional biases and cognitive errors. These a lot of students get confused because they're very close. Some kind of biases can be categorized as more than one. People tend to get confused. So let us go and have a look at the demo session where I teach how I teach this in actual class. The way I explain the various biases that exist, give examples, provide examples for various kinds of biases, and then of course, wherever required, we do also solve certain MCQ questions so that you can get a feel of how the actual exam is. So let's go and have a look at the demo. Now you have something called as biases. Now biases are also multiple types. First bias is called loss aversion bias. Let me come back to that. Yes, loss aversion bias. What is loss aversion? Again, there's a famous experiment in this. An individual is given $10. The individual is given following options: take an additional 5 and with certainty, flip a coin and win an additional 10 if it lands heads up, or nothing if it lands tails up. So basically, you already have 10 rupees. I will give you either 5 extra, okay, pakka 5, or I will give you 10 if coin is heads. I will give you 0 if coin is tails. Right? If I will give you 10 if coin is head, or I will give you 0 if coin is tails. So what happens? Heads or tails, probability is 50-50. So heads, if you get, you'll get 10 rupees. Tails, you get 0 rupees. So what is the average expected value of 5? So 5 plus whatever you have 10, total value is 15. Whereas in the first case, you're pakka getting 5. So what typically tends to happen is people like certainty. They don't want a loss. So they will say, just give me 5 here. I don't care about the probability of earning extra 10 also. Right? Both, options represent a similar number, where the expected value is 5 for either option. However, option 1 creates a guarantee of 15. Option 2 introduces uncertainty. People don't like uncertainty, right? So people don't like uncertainty, which is why a lot of times whenever there is people miss out on potential good options because they look at it purely as a loss rather than expected value. So you should take always expected value rather than looking at pure loss, right? Now, consequences of loss aversion may include trading too much by selling for small gains, which increases transaction cost, or incurring too much risk by continuing to hold assets that have deteriorated in quality and lost value. If an initial decline in value occurs, loss-averse investors may take excessive risk in hope of recovering, and loss-averse investor might view a position inappropriately as a gain or a loss based on framing of the reference point. Okay, so the idea is, if you're loss averse, either you will take with certainty some amount of gain and walk away, which is why you'll never hold on to your assets for a long time. Or what you will do is you will double down. You'll say, I've incurred this lot, let me gain more. So I will continue to stay invested even if there is a small loss, right? So both kind of errors happen because of this loss aversion bias. Next bias is called overconfidence bias. This again, we discussed, has this illusion of knowledge and self-attribution bias, where you are very confident. You generally believe you know everything, right? And when things go wrong, right? You see here what they're saying. Individuals may give themselves personal credit when they go right, but blame others or circumstances when things go wrong. This is what is generally human tendency. The prediction overconfidence leads individuals to underestimate uncertainty and stand deviation of the predictions, while certainty overconfidence occurs when they overstate the probability that they will be right. While overconfidence is both cognitive and emotional, it is more emotional because it is difficult for individuals to correct, and it is rooted in the desire to feel good. Overconfidence may cause market participants to underestimate risk, overestimate return, and fail to diversify sufficiently. Right. So this is the second kind of bias that exists. Third one is self-control bias. These are all again emotional biases, right? Self-control bias. This occurs when individuals lack discipline, right? They favor short-term stuff over long-term stuff. So I know a lot of people who are like, you live only once, YOLO, right? People keep saying that you live only once. So they don't make enough effort for saving something for future. So what happens? They're happy with small payoffs, and they could have got a big payoff if they had shown some patience, they lose out on that. So they don't have self-control. This is also called hyperbolic discounting. Right, self-control bias may result in insufficient savings due to fund retirement needs, which may cause investors to take excessive risk to compensate for insufficient saving. Self-control bias may be mitigated by establishing a proper and appropriate investment plan and a budget to achieve sufficient savings. So basically what they're saying is, this is not only with respect to savings, but not only with respect to retirees, for everybody, you need to have a plan. You need to have a structured approach to investments. You cannot have an approach like, I immediately this year I have to do whatever it is I have to enjoy. No, you enjoy some portion, but you budget how much is your enjoyment money. Like that, if you build your investment plan or your entire whatever are your assets, portfolio and all of that, you will actually be able to avoid this particular bias. Next, you have something called a status quo bias. Now, status quo is very similar to conservatism. Here, status quo is emotional. Here, it is more like, I will not change. I am like this only. Okay. It occurs when comfort with an existing situation causes an individual to be resistant to change. And if the investment choice includes option to maintain existing investment, or if a choice happens unless the participant opts out, the status quo becomes more likely. So you see this. Whenever people have been automatically enrolled in a program, and the button is to get out of the program, you have to click a button saying, no, I don't want the program. People don't click the button. So if you see, and you see this very much in a lot of websites and apps, right? By design, they will auto-select certain things. Why? Because they know that when there is auto-select, you don't tend to change the button. Whereas, look at it ulta. If there is a question, do you want this, yes or no? Most people will click no. If there is an opportunity, do you want this, yes or no? Most people will click no. But if they say, we are doing this for you, it is already said. If you don't want it, click the no button. Right? Then very few people will actually click the no button. So companies have found automatically enrolling workers in retirement savings scheme with the option to opt out increases the participation. Okay. The way the question is framed, right? And consequences of status quo may include holding portfolios in inappropriate risk and not considering better investment alternatives, right? So this is exactly what it is. If you are happy with what it is, you are okay with what it is, you don't want to change. This is human nature, right? Then next one is something called as endowment bias. What is endowment bias? When asset is felt to be special. So you like, long ago, very long ago, it's not so long ago, but my great grandfather worked for HUL. I want to keep HUL stock. I don't know whether the stock is good or bad. Okay, my grandfather gave me ITC stocks. He bought it with his first salary in 1925. So now, hence, I will also keep that stock. Okay, my uncle, gave me, this particular stock. I got this stock in dowry. Okay, you have all such kind of reasons why you don't sell a stock. Right. So there are ways in which people tend to hold on to emotional attachments to stocks where you should be emotionally detached. Right. So individuals have been asked to state their minimum sales price. This is, you see, an example. Okay. So let's say you own a stock. You own one particular asset. Let's say you own an old washing machine. Okay. If anyone asks you, at what rate will you sell this washing machine? Let's say you purchase it for 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. If somebody asks you how much will you sell it for, you'll say I will sell it for 5,000 rupees. Okay. Okay, this you see this particular example, it is perfectly fits in with our OLX and quicker mentality. 10,000 you purchased 5 years ago. Today, if somebody asks how much will you sell it at, you will say a price of 5,000. Same kind of washing machine, your friend has purchased and he wants to sell to you, you will say I will give you only 4,000. So what you own, you think value is high. What somebody owns, you think value is low. Because you attach more value to your own personal assets or personal attachments, right? People who have this endowment bias typically believe that, for their may be failing to sell assets that are no longer appropriate for their needs or hold on to assets which they are familiar for because they provide them with some sense of intangible sense of comfort, right? Then we have something called as a regret aversion bias. What is regret aversion bias? Which occurs when market participants do nothing out of excessive fear that actions could be wrong. They attach undue weight to errors of commission and not enough weight to errors of omission. Errors of commission is doing something that turns out to be wrong. Errors of omission is not doing something that would have turned out to be right. Their sense of regret and pain is longer for acts of commission. This is quite similar to status quo. So when what happens is when stock market you have a lot of things falling. Or, I don't know if you know of these, these Adani stocks or Yes Bank or DHFL or Kingfisher long ago. What happens is when things are suddenly changed, right? People don't take action. because they may be wondering, let's say you purchased, I'll give you an example, Yes Bank stock. Let's say I purchased Yes Bank stock when it was falling. I thought, it is going to fall. No, it is now, the fall is over. Let me buy now. I purchased. Now it is further continuing to fall. You can sell it and exit. You can take a loss and exit and get out of it. But you're like, no, it'll come back again. I am more worried that if I sell it at a loss now and freeze my loss, and then later on it goes up, I'll regret even more. So what will I do? I will hold on to that and it will fall down even further. And this has happened with me. This has happened with multiple people that I know. Even though we studied all of this, these are very, very human emotional biases, right? You have to work very hard to get out of them, right? Which is what they say. Herding behavior is a form of regret. Aversion, where participants go with consensus or popular opinion, especially participants tell themselves that they're not to blame if others are wrong. I am not the only one who's lost. Whole market is lost, so it is okay. So you tend to rationalize what has happened. Right. Now, these are the kind of, cognitive errors and biases, emotional biases. We have looked at all of them. Some of them appear to be very, very close. That is how they are, unfortunately. You have to be very careful, especially in CFA exam, how the questions are framed. And you should know all these terms. You should know all these terms very, very clearly. So that concludes the demo of portfolio management emotional biases. Hope you liked it. Please, express your opinions, leave a comment, share your feedback, do follow us on social media for all your latest CFA tips, tricks, updates, and any news from the CFA Institute with respect to scholarships or fees or last dates, anything like that. Okay, so looking forward to see you on the other side.